If you were a kid growing up in the 70s, you're going to want to watch this video because you're going to see some toys here that you forgot all about. Let's take a look. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, your friendly neighborhood Junkman, coming back at you with another video. And today, this is more of a video aimed for those kids that grew up in the 70s. If you were born in 1979, you didn't grow up in the 70s. Don't say, I'm a 70s kid. No, your toys you got were the 80s, unless you had some hand-me-down toys, but you're not a kid of the 70s. And nothing wrong with that. Although I was a kid in the 70s, I was also a kid in the 80s. I guess you can say I had best of both worlds. But let's look at these toys, and we're going to kind of look at stuff we usually don't look at here. A lot of these toys are for a younger kid, maybe toddler age, Fisher-Price stuff and other things like that. Should be a lot of fun, and I'm sure these are toys that every kid had, or very popular toys. Maybe you didn't have everything on this list. I mean, there's 20 of them, but I'm sure there's going to be a handful of them. You're going to say, man, I remember that as a kid, because you're a 70s kid. Let's take a look. Yes, drive yourself crazy. And I drove myself crazy. Anytime I took a road trip, I didn't have an iPad to take in the car with it. I didn't have a DVD player. No, I had I had a piece of paper on a conveyor belt with a plastic card that went back and forth. It was awesome. Had different speeds and everything. I loved it. Oh, how about this airplane? Who didn't have this as a kid of the 70s? Now, even if you didn't have this as a kid, chances are your kindergarten class had it. Don't you miss kindergarten? Had toys yet? Do they still allow toys in kindergarten? Kindergarten and daycare. You would have had this. This is probably, if you were a kid in the 80s, you probably had this too at daycare or kindergarten, because it was probably all faded and played with since the 70s. Well, what about a record player? Yeah, we had a record player. We had hard disc. This wasn't vinyl. It wasn't CD. It was just a music box. I think you wind it up, put these on. I don't really know how it worked, but you don't have to tell me in the comments below. I don't really care. How about sitting on a piece of plastic and spinning around? We all did that with a sit and spin. Who didn't love the sit and spin? I wish they made an adult size sit and spin, because I would sit and spin. Right now, I would make a video of me just sitting and spinning for an hour and a half. Well, how did we watch movies? We didn't have Netflix. We didn't have DVDs. In the 70s, we didn't have VHS. What did we do? We watched it on a hand crank piece of plastic, Fisher-Price music box movie camera. Oh, look at that kid. He's having fun right there. There's a lot of directors today that grew up with this thing, and this was their first experience playing with a movie camera. Now, here's one that's a little bit older. He was a little bit older when you play with this. Man, it was awesome. The Green Machine. You had to steer it like this. Hey, steering wheels are for suckers. It was awesome. One big wheel in the front, two plastic wheels on the back. It was awesome. It says for guys 8, 9, 10. Why is it only for 8, 9, 10-year-olds? I don't understand that. Who really know how. It's only for those that really know how to ride. And let's say you're riding and somebody wants to take your picture. Well, we didn't have a phone with a camera on it and everything. We had a plastic camera that had a fake flash at the top to spin around, and I had this as a kid. I remember playing with this thing for years, even when I was way too old for it. I thought it was really cool, and I really remember this. I remember acting like I was Peter Parker from the live-action Spider-Man TV show, and I would go outside with this and like I was taking pictures. I don't think that's the kind of camera he had. But let's say you wanted to tell time. Well, you could with this farm clock thing. I think every school had this. It helped kids learn how to tell time, I guess. Look at this. It has a sleeping moon on it. It has a wide awake sun. It has a lot of crazy stuff on it. But let's say you wanted to buy that. How would you buy it? Well, you would need a cash register. You would need a plastic one that had big old buttons. Click, click, click. You want to buy an apple? Click. Oh, it was awesome. No sale. I don't know. But I remember playing with this thing. This thing here is pretty dirty. Yeah, I'm sure they are too. But let's say you don't want to check out somebody on the cash register. You're busy. You're busy walking the dog. No, not with a yo-yo. No, you're walking the dog right here. A remote control dog with a string on it. Walk along. Your young master just pull his leash. And he had a little hat on. I don't know why he had a hat. A dog wearing a hat. I have seen it all now. But never seen a dog with wheels on it either. So I guess I have seen it all. So you wanted to play a game after walking your dog where you could stay alive with the Ultimate Survivor game. I got this downstairs. I bought this on eBay not too long ago. Me and my son played. It's kind of fun still. You had these little marbles and slits, and you pull a slit. I say a slit. You pull a slit. You don't want to pull the other. You want to pull, a slit. Anyway, let's move on before I get canceled here. But it was a lot of fun. You know what was round, small, and it didn't fall down? Weebles. Nah, for years until like last year, I thought they were called Weeble Wobbles, but apparently it's just what they said on the commercial. Weebles, they wobble, but they don't fall down. But everybody I know called these Weeble Wobbles, except for that coach guy. If you ever watched that channel, Echo Base, I asked him about it, and he's like, I never even heard of a Weeble Wobble. I was like, dude, what are you, 30? Anyway, these were, you couldn't knock them down. You push them, they're like little plastic eggs, and they pop right up. Weebles. They were called Weebles. They wasn't called Weeble Wobbles like I thought, but Weeble Wobbles, but they don't fall down. And let's say when you're through playing with your Weebles, you wanted to get your Tinker Toys out. That's right. Tinker Toys. Who needs Legos? Who needs Legos when you got some Tinker Toys to do? There you go. Just stick the little wood and stick the wood stick and the round wood, and man, you can make yourself a star. It wasn't really that cool. You couldn't really make nothing cool with it. Not on the box. There was always cool stuff on the box. Or you had a friend that could make cool stuff. I never really could. I think I made a turkey one time. I think I did make a turkey. And let's say the green machine wasn't green enough for you, or just wasn't your type of thing. You could have the big wheel. The big one. That was, I remember one that had a brake on it. Remember that one? You could do some good slides with it. But there it is. The big wheel. And this was only $15 new. Crazy. Well, let's say after you rode your big wheel, you wanted to go pass a nut. Well, you could with this game I played. This is one of the earliest presents I remember getting for Christmas. Pass the nuts. You hit a little button. You had to get each animal to kick the nut into the goal at the top. And you had a bear. You kicked it to him. The bear kicked it to the rabbit, who kicked it to the squirrel, who kicked it to the monkey. Where these people live, they got bears and rabbits and monkeys and squirrels all hanging out together. And the monkey would hit it into the nest. It was a lot of fun. How about this castle? Remember this? I think it was a Fisher-Price castle. That is awesome. This is another thing I used to see at daycares and kindergartens all the time, even up through the 80s. Not that I was in kindergarten and daycare in the 80s, but, I would see it when I passed by. I was like in the 4th grade and walked past the kindergarten. Well, we called it Montessori for some reason. It sounded like some kind of weird dinosaur. I don't know what the deal with that was, a special school. But let's say you wanted to tell time and you wanted to do it with an owl. You could with this owl clock right here. It's answers. It's an answer clock. I think you set if I remember right, you set the time, you push the button and its eyes open, like hour and minute. So you set the time, you try to guess what it is. Okay, it's 8:15. Then you push the red button on this side. This eye opens, it says 8. Push the other one, it says 15. And I remember having this and try to get it somewhere in between the middle. So it was like, what time is it now? It's between 14 and 15. What time is it now? I never did fool it. How about this little house? I remember having this house. Had a little doorbell on. You ring it all the time. Ding, 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 ding. Had a real bell inside. Ding, 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 ding. I used to ring. Oh, I love this little house. Fisher-Price house. It opened up. They should have made. This was awesome. This was awesome. It's almost as good as the garage. Remember the Fisher-Price garage? Here it is. This was awesome. Even my Hot Wheel car is like playing with this thing. I put my Hot Wheel car. It had an elevator, a parking deck. Freaking awesome, man. And let's look at one more. We looked at 20 of them. This is going to be number 20 already. This is another toy that came in a tube. Lincoln Logs. My son, or maybe my daughter, one of us got Lincoln Logs like in the 2000s. They were plastic. Sad. Lincoln Logs. Never had enough Lincoln Logs to build anything cool like on the box. It was just never enough. You had to buy 2 Lincoln Logs boxes, and nobody's buying you 2 tubes of Lincoln Logs. Oh, man, we had plastic. We had toys that gave you splinters when we were a kid. There it goes. Lincoln Logs. I wonder why Lincoln gets logs. You think George Washington got mad? What's the opposite of logs? You think George Washington got jealous? No one wants to play with Washington twigs. No, that did not happen at all. Well, let's look at 20. I can't believe it was 20. It was really fast. 20 toys from the 70s that I bet you grew up with, you knew somebody with. This probably unlocks some memories. Let me know. You're probably like, I totally forgot about that. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.
Hey, Junkman channel popping though. Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.